concerned are you about Dame moving forward?
I'm a little concerned, not greatly concerned, because I think he's a warrior and I think he'll find a way to work around it. Obviously, when you hurt your non-shooting hand, there's still an issue of catching and balancing. You got to make sure you do that. You know, you catch the ball, that's going to hurt you doing that with both hands in most situations. And obviously, when you're launching your shots, you're using your non-shooting hand to balance and hold the ball. So obviously it could be affected to some degree, not to mention the fact that because he's your guard, he's your point guard, he's usually dribbling the basketball. And when you're going up against defenders, you have to be protective of that as well. So that in and of itself was problematic. But then when you take into account that this is clearly not Memphis, it's not the Brooklyn Nets. It's not anybody like that. You got Anthony Davis waiting in that post area. You got an eraser at the rim that's looking to block shots at every turn. That's going to dissuade you from driving to the basket, which means that you're going to primarily rely upon your perimeter shooting ability in order to make things happen. And like KP said earlier with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Danny Green and those boys trying to lock in and zero in on him, because the belief is if you neutralize him, you've basically shut down the Portland Trail Blazers. That's definitely going to be a focus, and that's something that he's going to have to overcome. What I would say is C.J. McCollum, he's got to step up. He's got to be more effective. Carmelo Anthony, 2 points. That ain't cutting it, bro. You got to step up. You got to be more effective. And, of course, Nurkic, he's got to get more involved in that offense, and Terry Stotts got to call more plays for him and make him formidable in terms of attacking Anthony Davis, because what you should be trying to do is get Anthony Davis in some foul trouble if you can pull it off, so you can make him a bit tentative on a defensive end because he's worried about that foul trouble, as opposed to him not being in foul trouble and he gets to operate the way he's capable of operating. These are all things that you have to do, but obviously it's severely compromised by Damian Lillard not being 100%, and that's what you got to watch out for.
I'm worried about Lillard. I'm sure that he would suffer through any pain to try to win. He'd probably gnaw off his own finger to do it. I'm not worried that he won't give the effort or that he even won't be effective. I mean, when Damian Lillard, when something negative happens to him or his team, he comes back with a vengeance. But it's a tall enough task to try to, you think they're going to take him 7, Stephen A. I didn't think they were going to take him 7. I thought 6 at the most. And now I'm thinking, I don't know if the Blazers win a game. Maybe they do still take him 6 because Lillard to have that on his mind. But you're right, not just the catching and balancing, but also like force him to go left. Like, let's see what you got. In terms of Lillard picking guys' pockets late in games, that probably compromises that too. Like Lillard is not just, it's easy to think of him as the point god, right? The guy who can pull up from wherever and hit it, hook up his teammates, get to the paint if he needs to, all those things. But that at 100%, yes, he's so great that maybe this team can extend the Lakers. But if he's compromised in the ways that you pointed out and in other ways because his left hand is clearly not 100%, and at this point in the season, everyone has, bumps and bruises, but this was something that he had to leave the game for. Yeah, I'm worried about Lillard and the Blazers as a result of this injury.
I am too. I got major concerns. When you talk about dislocating your finger, that is serious. I dislocated mine. And look, I'm not even about to put my name in a conversation with Dame Dollar by no means. But when you talk about a guy like Stephen A. said, that's a point guard that's ball dominant, that is dealing with elite pressure. Guys are putting pressure on him in the backcourt, and he has to dribble the ball. Forget shooting the ball. I understand it's not his shooting hand, but he still has to create. It's not like Dame is 6'7" or a 7-footer where he have to utilize his skill set and his ball handling to get his shot off. And with his index finger being dislocated, man, that's a serious injury. Psychologically, it plays a role in your mind, and also it's painful. So I know he probably woke up this morning and feeling the pain because you can't bend it, you can't move it. And just knowing the pressure that the Lakers are going to put on him and how ball dominant and how much he has to carry the load for Portland is very concerning. And if I'm the Lakers, you got to watch out. You got to watch out if you Dame Dollar, because the old school, if someone got a bump, a bruise, or a dislocated finger, or a broken hand, they're going to be swiping at it. So if he get hit on that finger, it's going to hurt even more. So I got major concern.
And that's why if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, and I was thinking the same thing, KP, you got to take advantage of it. It's not enough just to have a defender. It's not enough just to, if I'm a defender for the Los Angeles Lakers, if I'm Frank Vogel, if I'm Phil Handy, if I'm Jason Kidd and these boys, here's my mentality. If I see Damian Lillard out there knowing the situation with his hand, it's not enough for me just to have a defender who's going to keep his body in front of Dame, because Dame will shoot over you. What you want is somebody that's constantly reaching and swiping and things of that nature. Why? Because psychologically, in an effort to protect your hand, you might be so preoccupied with doing that could thwart your shot off. It could knock you off your rhythm. That's the kind of thing that I'm doing. I'm looking for a pest right now to pester Damian Lillard in terms of somebody who reaches a lot, touches a lot, feels on you a lot as a defender, as opposed to just keeping the body in front of him just to distract him. And that was A.V. Bradley.
And I know Dame was white hot. Dame was white hot coming into this series, and was the best player in the bubble so far and all those things. But, guys, they were the underdogs in this series. They're not a good defensive team. They're now knotted 1-1. It took a lot for them to win in Game 1. They got blown out in Game 2. Their best player now has a dislocated finger. Their high-usage point guard has a dislocated finger on his left hand. Their second-best player has a broken back. It's bad news for the Blazers.
Yeah, his finger definitely looked very gnarly last night. You saw that. It was kind of twisted in an awkward direction. Does not look like it felt very good. But Dame Lillard last night, obviously leaving in the third quarter, only had a chance to score 18 points. That is the lowest that he's had since March. And also dealing with the number 18, that is the percentage that ESPN's BPI now gives the Blazers to win this series.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.